there. This is Helen Stapleton with Common Sense Matters. It's been a really long time since I've been here, and I'm so happy to be back. We have our show, the Franklin County Democratic Party's show is called Common Sense Matters. We are on every fourth Friday of the month, which this is, and we talk about common sense kitchen table issues that are affecting you and your family. The Franklin County Democratic Party meets every fourth Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Franklin County Annex Small Meeting Room. So this last Tuesday we did meet on Zoom because of the weather, but typically we were at the Annex. Our website is Franklin County, Tennessee, all spelled out, democraticparty.com. So if you want to see what our events are or whatever, Franklin County, Tennessee, Democratic Party, all one word, all lowercase, .com. And we're on Facebook. That would be Franklin County, parentheses, TN, parentheses, Democratic Party. That's how you would look us up on Facebook. And I wanted to announce that we're going to be having a spelling bee on President's Day, which is February 19th, Monday, February 19th. This will be maybe our 10th year doing this. There's always going to be food. We usually have a speaker that only speaks for a short time. And then we have the kids competing in the spelling bees. And if you're in first grade, you're going to be spelling from a first grade list. If you're in fifth grade, you'll be spelling from a fifth grade list. So it's a fair competition. And then for the adults, we have an American History bee. And then there's prizes for that as well. So it's going to be Monday, February 19th at the Swanee Community Center, and we hope that y'all can come out for that. So I don't have a guest today. I want y'all to be my guests, so I'm hoping that people will call in at 967-2201. I want to hear what y'all have to say about this topic. So our topic today is the falling birth rate. The births have been falling almost continuously for more than a decade. They really went down they started really going down after the recession in 2007. And then they really went down again after the pandemic. So for every 1,000 women of childbearing age, 55.8 of them gave birth, compared to 69 in 2007. So that's a 20% decline in women having children. The total fertility rate, which is a measure constructed from this data, say that the average total number of children a woman will ever have fell from 2.12 in 2007 to 1.64. And a society needs a fertility rate of 2.1 in order to maintain itself. And we're below that now. In 2021, the Census Bureau reported that for the first time ever, deaths are outnumbering births in half of all states in the U.S. So this is a big demographic change. Some people think it's a good thing, and then others think it's a bad thing. So I want to know, what do y'all think? Is this a good thing or a bad thing that the birth rate is going down? However, even though the birth rate is going down in the U.S., the global population is 7.87 billion. That's a lot, and it'll soon be 8 billion in the next few years. So globally, population is rising, but here in the U.S. and in many other countries, mostly European and industrialized countries, it's really going down. And then another pretty new phenomenon is that for the first time ever, more people are saying they simply just don't want to. It's not anything because I'm infertile or I can't afford it or whatever. They just 56% are saying they simply just don't want to. So I'm just curious what you all think out there. What were your reasons for having or not having kids? Why do you think people are not having as many kids today? And what do you think we should do about it? So why is this a problem? Well, the main reason why it's a problem is that, or that that it could be a problem, is that there's going to be fewer working adults supporting a bigger and bigger population of the elderly. So you're going to have fewer people paying into Social Security and more people taking it. You're going to have all of these elderly people in hospitals, nursing homes, wherever, and not enough, staff to take care of them, or just people in general to take care of them. It also causes, schools have fewer students in them. And, as we all know, the public schools get, I think it's roughly $5,000 per student per year from the state. So, yeah, you might logically say, okay, fewer kids, you would need fewer money, or not fewer money, less money. But that's not the case, because, like over at Cowan Elementary, for example, there are certain costs that stay the same no matter how many kids you have there. You still have to heat the building, you still have to cool the building, you still have to pay a janitor, you still have electricity, heating, all that kind of water. All those expenses stay the same whether you have 200 kids or whether you have 100 kids. But if you have 200 kids, you're getting a lot more money from the state, and if you only have 100 kids, obviously you're getting less. So what are the reasons? Why are people having fewer kids? Well, according to a Pew poll in 2021, these are some of the reasons. So for 5% of people, they're saying it's for environmental reasons, like they don't want to, global warming or climate change is happening. They don't want to contribute to that by bringing more people into the world, or they fear the future of the planet and will it sustain life. So that's 5% of the people. For 20% of the people, it's medical reasons, like maybe they have some condition where having a child wouldn't be good for them. 17% it's financial, and I would have thought it would have been much, much more than that. For 15%, it was not having a partner. And then for the rest, it was just they simply didn't want to. And then other reasons within that is that they want to prioritize their career. If you take 2 or 3 years off of work, you can really fall behind. I took about 10 years off of work to raise my 3 kids, and when I came back to work in 2006, the whole internet had been invented. And I missed out on a lot. I had a lot of catching up to do. I had a 10-year hole in my resume, pretty much. I did a little work, but it was a sacrifice that I was willing, and luck, and most importantly, I was fortunate enough to be able to make that choice. So anyway, there's career reasons, and having a successful career is very valued these days. Another reason people gave is that none of their friends are, and it's hard like for me when I was raising kids. I had 6 or 7 women who also had babies right around the same time, and we got really tight and we relied on each other so much. And I don't know how I would have done it without those other moms my age doing the same thing. But when nobody else around you it would be pretty isolating, I would imagine. Some people feel that they're not responsible enough, or that they don't have a maternal or paternal instinct. And I get that reason, but you don't realize it until it already happens. Like I didn't think I was responsible. I didn't think I was overly maternal. But once that baby's born and you look in its face, I felt like I would rip the beating heart out of anyone that touched that or hurt my baby. Like all of a sudden those feelings you've never had before just flood you. And when you love that baby so much, you become responsible because that baby needs a responsible person. And it's almost like I think chemicals and hormones take over your brain and make you be a good mom and make you be responsible, like I definitely never was before. But anyway, that's another one of the reasons that people give. Others just say that they're not ready. And, well, I know somebody, I'm just going to talk about someone I know, I'm not going to name them, but this person has a master's degree, they own a house, they have a partner, and they even have some savings, and then they say that they're not ready. So if that's not ready, I don't know how more ready you can be. I mean, a lot of people have children who don't have any of those things. But anyway, so a lot of people say that they're not ready. A lot of people cite the reason that they can't give them what their parents gave them. They can't give their baby what their parents gave them, or they can't assure that their baby will have as good a life as they had. And that is a valid concern, but I think kids need a lot less than we think they need. They really just need our love and our time. But okay, that's another one. A lot of people cite the fact that it's harder today to raise children. Society is not as much set up for it. Like when I was a kid, we would eat breakfast at home, and then we were out running free all day long in the neighborhood, and maybe we came home for lunch, but we basically didn't come home until dark, and that was just the rule, kind of you were home by dark. And so our mom didn't have to do much. I mean, she did have a lot to do all day, but she wasn't expected to entertain us all day. There were a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood. We just sort of ran around in a pack, and you just don't see that anymore. And so I guess nowadays parents are expected to keep their kids entertained and busy and whatever, and that is a whole lot harder. I totally get that. Another thing that's different and why I think it's harder is that in older generations you had multiple generations living in the home, and so you always had an aunt or a grandmother to help out with things. And nowadays most people just live mom, dad, or not even that, just one parent or another, and then the kids. So it's there aren't as many adults around to help out. And then a lot of people just want the freedom to pick up and go whenever they want, or follow a career, follow their passions, whatever. So I was hoping that somebody may call in and let us know what they think, why they think people are having fewer kids today. But we're not getting any calls. Do you have any insights, Christian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a few opinions.
Okay, I'd love to hear them.
I'm 27. And
so is my daughter. So I have two daughters. One has a child, and the other says she will never ever. So
okay,
I'm curious.
yeah.
And she's 27, just like you, the one who says she'll never.
Well, like but there's a portion of friends that I still see on Facebook and that kind of thing that I was surprised had kids because they always talked about they didn't want to. But those friends grew up differently than a lot of the other friends. But even then, they tell me like, "Oh, I only want one. I only want two, maybe." And I wonder if it's easier for much older conservative generations to judge a younger generation based on their experiences when they were young. It was a different time.
Oh yeah.
Now
we didn't grow up with shooter drills in school.
Exactly. It's an actively different time where we see environmental impacts. We see political changes that are more radical. We're divided now more so than... I don't know if it's the most divided we've been, but it's much more apparent in the news and that kind of thing. It's what we're focused on. And I think the big thing for me that gives anxiety about it, mostly because I have a girlfriend and we've talked about it, but we're very, very apprehensive to the point to where we're not totally sure about it. The point, the reason is because we grew up as millennials, we were born in the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there at that point where computers, we were young enough to grow up with them, but saw the transition.
Mm-hmm.
And my thoughts are kids these days have so much more pressures than they did, like social media and how their image on themselves could be warped. And it's like, how do you parent with a very, very young child who's, their heroes are someone on social media and they're incentivized to do what they do, rather than, an older generation who's more inclined to have heroes who have a little, I'm not going to say it's not hard work, but a little, their merit was from a different place.
Right. As opposed to like a Kardashian. Who's
exactly.
Just, right. Well,
Right.
I would definitely say as a parent, I would say the biggest enemy to parenting for me was the internet.
Yes.
I hated it more than anything. It took my kids away from me. Anything on the internet was always going to be more interesting or better than what was happening in real life. And then the biggest thing that I hated was that how homework became. You had to be on the internet to do your homework, because I could say, okay, no computer time after 7:00, but when they have to be online to do their homework, unless you're literally standing over their shoulder every second,
Exactly.
how can you know that they're not off on Instagram or whatever, or checking something, so.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's such a radical change that's happened in less than 20 years. And so I think about what I do now, and it's strange it's a good perspective. I hadn't thought about how dominated we are by computers and technologies and phones. You can't have a job if you don't have a computer a lot of the time. You can't have a good work balance if you don't have an intense smartphone. And workplaces are checking your social medias to make sure you're appropriate for this work environment. So it's a different time, and I think it's an anxiety of a generation of anxiety where we don't know where the world is going because it is so different.
Okay. I will posit the argument, though, that all throughout history, there have been times when things were terrible. I mean, like imagine the Holocaust or the Civil War
or any wartime
or famines or I mean, there have been times when people probably had no hope in the future. And
absolutely.
Yeah, of course they didn't have birth control then. They had no choice. I grew up in the 70s and 80s thinking that any minute we were going to have nuclear war with Russia.
Right.
That was a constant worry for us, and people were building bomb shelters in their yards and whatever. So, I mean, I get that there's a lot of anxiety today and all that, but I think there have always been things that people feared.
Yeah.
It could be like the next village coming and attacking you. It could be nuclear war, like what I grew up with. See, nobody ever worries about nuclear war today,
no.
Even though it's still a thing.
Yeah.
The media talked about it 24/7 when I was a kid.
I wonder, are kids more aware of those kinds of problems now, where it was more of an adult-centric thing? Because now they're always advertised to with news and this kind of thing.
It very well could be.
I guess I know. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. Where it's not necessarily unique to have an anxietal future, but I don't know. As someone who is apprehensive about it,
I get that.
I don't know.
I totally get that. I am not at all here, trying to be down on anyone who doesn't want to have kids. I like I said, I have 2 daughters. One has a baby and loves being a mom. Other one said she will never ever. My son is either way. He's cool about it either way. But so I'm not at all here to judge. I'm just here trying to find out what people think, because whether we think it's a good thing or a bad thing, the lower fertility rate is going to affect us a lot. It's going to affect state budgets. It's going to affect school budgets. It's going to affect, how we're going to take care of, the elderly. It's it's going to affect a lot of things.
China's going through a really bad time now.
Yeah.
Because of that exact reason. That enormous elderly population is now, and they don't want. And then even now, the younger generation still with that. They don't want kids anymore because of the financial responsibilities.
Right. Because housing is so expensive.
Yeah.
There and here in the U.S. I mean, it's buying a house is just almost impossible for young people these days. Whereas, in my generation, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Anyway, but like I said about the anxiety, I can't tell you, like, my entire adult life I've been hearing, oh, the stock market's going to crash any day now. That's just people wanting to sell you gold.
Yeah.
Like I've always heard that, oh yeah, in the next 2 years, oh, Y2K, it's going to crash. Oh, 2020, it's going to crash. Trump was saying, oh, when Biden comes in, stock market's going to crash. Well, it's the highest ever right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying that it can't still crash, but people have always sort of
they've always had an adversity in their culture that they had to get
sold that
through.
line that this is all coming to an end, or Armageddon's coming, or whatever.
Rome is splitting.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm trying to now, like, think about what are some solutions that might make young people want to have children. And I've been, like, talking to people, talking to my kids, talking to their friends, talking to even people my age, and a lot of them, suggest paid paternal leave. We are the only industrialized country in the world that does not have that. All the European countries do. The more advanced Asia, Japan, Korea, all those countries do. We're the only country that doesn't have universal health care. We are the only country that doesn't have affordable child care. I'm not saying the only country in the world, the only industrialized. For a country that's as wealthy as ours, we don't have paid paternal leave. We don't have universal health care. We don't have affordable child care. We don't offer people any help at all with getting child care. And with most people I know, like, if you have two people working, one person's salary is going to go almost all towards child care, wiping out the other person's income. So what else? Safe quality schools, if people could be assured of that. One of the things that my daughter, who does have the child, cites is, she fears school shootings. I think statistically that's probably not too likely to happen, but it could. We don't have affordable housing in this country. We don't have any kind of we do have Section 8 housing for people, but I just know so many people who make just above the level you would need to get Section 8 housing, but then they don't make enough to buy a house out in the real market. So another cure for that is immigration. A lot of countries are actually promoting immigration because those people are young, they work hard, they're going to have children, and they will help take care of the elderly. If you go to a lot of nursing homes, most of the people working there are Filipinos or people from other countries. So here's where I'm going to get political. All of the things that would promote people wanting to have children, such as paid paternal leave, such as universal health care, such as affordable child care, such as, gun safety regulations, the Democrats are for and the Republicans are against. And yet, I think Republicans think the solution for it is to ban abortion. Banning abortion, and then people will have children. But they don't want to do anything to help people once they do. They always have fought paid paternal leave. Kirsten Gillibrand she's a Democratic senator. She's fighting for the Family Act, which would institute paid family leave in our country, but she doesn't have the votes. She doesn't have the votes to pass it in the House. Universal health care, we know that Republicans fought even Obamacare tooth and nail, which Obamacare doesn't even go anywhere near towards universal health care. It's a little baby step, but they fought even that tooth and nail. They have not ever supported anything to promote more affordable child care, and they're against immigration. So I guess the only tool in their toolbox is to ban abortion. So one thing that the Democrats did institute in 2021 was the child tax credit. The federal government, and if you have children, you probably remember this, every American family received child tax credits of $300 per child per month. And it had a huge effect. Okay, should I let her? All right, push that button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a caller. Hang on. Hello there.
Thank you.
Oh no, I think I just hung up on him. Oh gosh, I hit that little. Maybe you ought to do it.
Hello.
Oh, hey. We hear you. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead. Oh, goodness. Betty?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and talk, Betty. Oh, Lord. Okay, well, now we've lost her. Oh, gosh. And I forgot what we were talking about. Well, we're going to wait for her to call back. Okay, so what we were talking about was that in 2021, the Democrats passed the child tax credit, where families got $300 per child per month. And after 6 months, there was the biggest... Okay, what do I do? You do it. You push the buttons. There was the biggest drop in child poverty ever. And then the Republicans voted it out. Okay, hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
We do. Go ahead.
Yesterday, Marsha Blackburn was on, and she was just really ranting. I mean, she was on her soapbox about immigration. Well, Congress has passed the bill that the Republicans want for immigration. Enough Democrats have voted in Congress with the Republicans, so they've got exactly what they wanted to do at the border.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Trump tweeted to them yesterday and said, hold off, do not do anything. So we're under a dictatorship now.
Mm-hmm.
So he has tweeted his cronies in Congress and said, do not do anything, because if we do something, it'll make Biden look good, and he wants to leave it just like it is, regardless of how good the bill is, and they got exactly what they wanted.
Yep.
And now they won't do anything because it might make Biden look good for the election. Can you, and now Mitt Romney even was on the news last night criticizing his colleagues because they would not go ahead with what Congress has voted for them to do at the border. So I just thought I wanted you to know that.
I know that. I was listening to the news coming down here. Yep, they hate Biden more than they love America. That's for sure. Yep.
Well, and hate doing what's right. And then she had the nerve. I mean, yesterday she was on the local news, and that's all she talked about was immigration and what a terrible job Biden has done. They have gotten exactly what they wanted to do, and of course won't do it.
Yeah, so it was like more border security, more border guards, everything that they wanted. Yeah, I know. They just don't want to give him a win. Mitch McConnell just came out and said it. write out, we're going to do whatever we can to make Obama a one-term president. If he wants to do something that's good for the country, we're going to vote against it because we are anti-Obama.
Exactly.
And that thinking has carried on.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we want or what's best for us, just like our state legislature.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot believe that they're just dancing around the gun issue in our state legislature and will not do anything about it with those poor parents who lost children there, begging them to do something, and then they won't even let them come in and observe. I can't believe what's happening in our state legislature.
They want the legislature to be a safe space where they only hear what they think and want, and they can't hear anything, contrary to what they think. They need a safe space.
Well, I was just upset over the immigration thing last night because I just think how ridiculous it is that they have passed exactly what they want to do and now won't do it.
Well, do you have
Well, I just thought I'd share that with y'all. We were not talking about immigration, and I hope I haven't.
Well, no, we
thrown you
were.
off,
We were talking about immigration because it's considered if the birth rate doesn't keep up, that's the only other solution is immigration to have enough working people to support the elderly. We're gonna have to increase immigration if the birth rate doesn't go up again. And what are your thoughts on that? Why do you think people are having fewer kids today? And what do you think could fix that? Or does it even need fixing? Do you have any thoughts on that?
It needs fixing, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. But apparently, the bill that is in Congress now must be a good bill because the majority of the people passed it.
Are you talking about the immigration bill? The immigration bill?
The immigration
right,
thing,
right.
yes. And I don't really know enough about it to expound on it. But it must be a good bill. I keep up
it had bipartisan
with education too in the state, and I think that this is just a burr in my saddle is that we do not have anybody on the State Board of Education that's an educator.
Yeah, and they used to always do that until the Republicans took over the state, huh? Yep.
Well, we're just in a mess, a bad mess.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling, Betty.
Thank you.
Okay, what button do I push?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, that is true. So I mean, there are countries like, Sweden and Scandinavia and, in other Scandinavian countries where, people are given, paid family leave. They're, generous, like up to a year. They get help with housing, college is free. Now, one thing I will say for Tennessee is that every Tennessean senior is guaranteed, as long as they meet the criteria, they're guaranteed 2 years at a trade school or at a community college. And that was Governor Haslam who passed that, a Republican. And so I really, I'm very happy that Tennessee has that to offer. So at the very least, at least in Tennessee, that your child, even if you can't afford regular college, can have 2 years of community college or 2 years at TCAT or something like that. So that is something that could make having children a little bit less worrisome. But like I said, all those things that would make life easier for families, Democrats support and Republicans have always historically opposed whenever the vote came up. So the only thing that they want to do is ban abortion. All right. I was hoping I'd get some calls and hear some interesting perspectives. Anyway, do you have any more thoughts, Christian?
Not necessarily. I think one thing is that younger people will have to start running for offices
Oh, yeah.
for
We
there to
need
be
that.
more significant change on either side of the aisle. Even the Republican Party is very, very split right now. And, the Democrats aren't being able to move things because they are all, not all, but they're not agreeing on the internal side. It's not that you have to. It's just you make no political gains whenever you're living in an older time, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the things that young people care about, and there's even, a wing of young Republicans who care a great deal about climate change. And, the Republican Party not only doesn't want to do a damn thing about it, they don't even believe it exists. They don't want to do anything whatsoever for the environment and converting over to renewable energy or anything like that. And that's a huge concern for young people. That is a huge concern for young people. And you listen to any Republican debate, it's not even a topic. It's a non-existent issue for them. And for young people, Republicans and Democrats alike, it's a huge issue because it's y'all's future. It's y'all's future. I don't know how they could not care about that. Student debt is another thing. That's a big reason why a lot of people don't have kids is they're paying off student debt until their 40s or even beyond. And Republicans have blocked every attempt to do that. And yet, despite that, Biden has been able to do some executive orders, and he's relieved a lot of student debt. But that's literally anything I can think of that would make it easier on families, young families, the Democrats support and the Republicans oppose.
I think something else is maybe it's indicative of a time that we should repair the ability to disagree, if that makes sense, but still understand that you have to work towards something forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like I know that there are sensible Republicans, but I feel like a lot of the people in the Republican Party, even if they know it's a good thing, they're going to vote against it if it would keep a win from Biden, and they're all about kind of scorched earth rather than let's get together and do what's right for the country. They're just block, oppose. Okay, I've only got like 10 minutes left, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that Biden has done. So all you ever hear on the news is, oh, his age, he's so old, blah, blah, blah. Well, for an old person, he has accomplished a lot. And this is with the first 2 years, he had just a razor-thin majority in the Senate and the House, and now he's blocked in the House because the Republicans control the House. But so, given all that opposition, here's a few of the things he has accomplished, and a lot of these are for young people. Well, the first one is insulin is now capped at $35 for seniors a month for seniors. So that is huge. That is just life and death in someone's budget. We have had the lowest sustained unemployment rate in 50 years, okay? Anybody who wants a job, almost anybody who wants a job can go out and get one. It's 4% or less is our unemployment rate now, and it's been that way for 50 years. The record stock market, which we talked about earlier, it's the S&P 500 broke a record yesterday. Now, I don't judge the economy that way. Some people do by these numbers or whatever. The Dow Jones Industrial Average broke 38,000 the other day. That's great for people who have enough for savings and investments, but it doesn't affect the most of the average people. But anyway, if you judge things that way, the Joe Biden economy has broken records in the stock market. Wages are rising so I will concede that we've had inflation and that food and things like that are expensive, but wages are rising as well. So it's trying to keep up with that. And even though we do have inflation, it has stopped. It has, plateaued out. And it's less than it was in other countries. So, after COVID, prices went up just, because of supply chain issues. But you know what? Even though these prices have gone up. It's not, and because of COVID and whatever, the companies selling these things are making record profits. I mean, it's price gouging is what it is. But all right, other things. Manufacturing in the U.S. is on the rise. We've the CHIPS Act. We're trying to produce semiconductors and other things for computers here. Gay marriage has been protected. It's been enshrined into law. He got the one thing that Trump did accomplish was he got the COVID vaccine fast-tracked and developed under his presidency. But it was under the Biden presidency that it got distributed out to every man, woman, and child who wanted it for free in every community. Now, if you didn't want it, that's one thing, but anyone who wanted it could get it for free. So that was when the economy started moving again, when life sort of came back, when shutdowns ended and all that. He has passed the Infrastructure Act. We heard every week under Trump, oh, this is Infrastructure Week, but not one single thing happened. Well, Biden got the Infrastructure Act passed, and we are building roads, bridges, ports, airports, upgrading public transit and rail systems. He is having lead pipes replaced all over the country so that children aren't poisoned with lead poisoning. He has given up to $20,000 per person for student debt relief. That's huge in a young person's budget, even in a middle-aged person's budget. More than 40 million borrowers stand to benefit from this action. Right now, the uninsured rate is historically low. People without health insurance is only at 8%, and that's the lowest it has ever been. Now, I don't think a president has any effect on gas prices. I think that's decided by things beyond their control. But gas is at $3 a gallon, which is a pretty reasonable price. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the greatest environmental act promoting winterization, charging places for electric vehicles, just innumerable things like that. He has made it so that federal marijuana charges, go off of your record. Also, for the longest time, marijuana has been a Schedule I drug, which makes it the same as heroin or other LSD, other kind of strong drugs. He's trying to get it taken off as a Schedule I drug so that the penalties aren't as harsh. He wants to protect the right of women to choose what to do with their bodies. He has expanded overtime pay to many workers. So a lot of people work overtime, but they're called, quote, managers, so they don't get overtime. But he has passed legislation to make it easier for people who are called managers to get their overtime pay, and he's lowered the cap of what they have to make in order to qualify for it. And he's working on capping overdraft fees, like how if you bounce a check, you have to pay $35. He's trying to get that down to like $3 or $5. So he's doing things to help average American people. And so I hope that you will consider that when people say, oh, he's old, he's not doing anything. He's doing a lot, given the opposition and everything. All right, well, we are out of time, and I wish I'd had more callers, but oh well. But I wanted to just announce again, we're at Franklin County, Tennessee Democratic Party, all written out, all one word. And we hope that you can make it to our meetings every fourth Tuesday of the month at the Annex, at the Franklin County Annex. And that we're having our spelling bee on Monday, February 19th at 6 o'clock at the Swanee Community Center. So bring your kids, let them compete, let them see how good they can spell. And thank you so much, and we will be back on the fourth Friday of the month. Thank you so much, Christian.